Yesterday we talked about the Sangha, the Buddha. Okay, so we had the verse from Gyur Lama that read, "Unconditioned and spontaneous, not realized by other extraneous conditions, possessing knowledge, compassionate love, and ability. Buddhahood has the qualities of the two benefits for self and others." Okay, so we talked about the excellent quality of the unconditioned, meant the natural purity, the emptiness of inherent existence of the Buddha's mind that's been there. It's the same emptiness as, when he was an ordinary being. Then the excellent, except now he's a Buddha, so it's the natural purity of the Buddha's mind. And then it's the emptiness of the mind, but it's the natural purity of the mind that was never inherently existent. So even when the Buddha was an ordinary being, the mind was never inherently existent. Now as a Buddha also, it's not inherently existent by its nature. And then spontaneous meant that it's free of the adventitious obscurations. So that is a true cessation that is gained by practicing the path. Yeah, so it's an emptiness that comes about by practicing the path. The natural purity is just the nature of the mind, whatever it is. And then the third quality, not being able to be realized by extraneous conditions, refers to the Buddha's wisdom that knows both of these emptinesses and the true cessations. And it is not able to realize by other conditions, meaning that it can't be expressed in words, it can't be described in a way for ordinary beings to actually understand the experience. You have to experience it to know. And then those three were all qualities of fulfilling the purpose of oneself, because they referred to the Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya of the Buddha. Then the the nature truth body. Except the third one is the third one is the Buddha's wisdom that knows things as they are. So that is not the nature truth body. That's part of the wisdom Dharmakaya. Okay. Having the truth body. Here it just says truth body, which has the first three qualities. Doesn't say nature. The first two are definitely nature truth body. Okay, then the fourth one is the excellent quality of knowledge. So the Buddha knows all the varieties of phenomena. Okay, the fifth is compassionate love. So, knowing the varieties of phenomena and sentient beings' dispositions and tendencies, teaches them with compassion. And then the quality of power or ability to liberate beings. Okay, so he any Buddha possesses the abilities to help sentient beings clear away all of their obscurations that force them to be reborn in samsara. And so those three are the excellent quality of others' welfare. Okay, so don't confuse the excellent quality of one's own welfare with being the nature truth body. It's just the truth body. It's both aspects, of the truth body. And then the excellent quality of others' welfare is specifically the last three qualities that enable a Buddha to reach out to others. Hold on a second. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes they talk about the form bodies as being fulfilling the welfare of others. So that would actually make more sense, wouldn't it? But the last three qualities are definitely qualities of the Buddha's mind. Yeah. So maybe there's multiple ways of describing working the quality of working for the welfare of others. Okay, we can check up on that one.
Form bodies come from the Dharma.
They come from the Dharmakaya, right? Okay, then we started talking about the Dharma Jewel. And so remember, the Dharma Jewel is the last two of the four truths for Aryas, true cessations and true paths. And whereas when we're talking about for the Buddha Jewel, the true cessations in the Buddha's mind are it's the emptiness of the Buddha's mind that has eliminated all obscurations. But for the Dharma Jewel, the true cessation is the emptiness of the mind that has removed some portion of the obscurations. When I'm talking about removed, it means eliminated so that they can no longer reappear. Okay? So, when we apply the antidotes, like when we're angry and we meditate on fortitude to calm our mind, that temporarily ceases the anger, but that's not a true cessation because the seed of the anger still exists in our mind, and when we meet other conditions, it will ripen into manifest anger. So our anger hasn't been eliminated forever. Okay? So it's only with true cessations that it's the affliction plus the seeds of the afflictions that have been eliminated, that are the true cessations. Okay, so the first quality of that we talked about yesterday was being inconceivable, so it can't be understood by the logicians who, use this circuitous kind of logic, saying things aren't existent, non-existent, both or neither. Without understanding what that actually means. And then and remember we said that it means not inherent existent, not totally non-existent, not both of those, and not some other truly existent alternative. Okay? Then the second quality of the Dharma Jewel is being without the two. Okay, so non-dual is a wrong translation because the meaning of this is that true cessations are free from a portion of afflictions and polluted karma. Okay, so this is the purity from adventitious defilements. And this freedom so the two that it's freed of are the afflictions and polluted karma. Okay, but this is talking in terms, well, let's finish this first. So this freedom cannot be experientially understood through words and concepts. The Dharma Jewel is present at the path of seeing, path of meditation, path of no more learning, of all three vehicles, and is free of some portion of afflictions and polluted karma. However, because by the eighth ground, the Bodhisattvas have already eliminated all the afflictions and polluted karmas. So I would assume this quality then would be without some portion of the cognitive obscurations. Yeah, because here it's just talking about it in Well, no, I take that back, because this is talking about the aryas of all three vehicles. Yeah. So even for the the three pure ground bodhisattvas of the 8th, ninth, and 10th bhumis, they've eliminated they've eliminated, well, some portion. From the bodhisattvas have eliminated all the portions of afflictions and karma, so they have the Dharma Jewel. Okay. But it's interesting that they don't mention the cognitive obscurations here. Okay, then the excellent quality, the third one is the excellent quality of being without conceptualization. So the word conceptualization means different things in different contexts, and it can be very confusing getting the right meaning in any particular context. Okay, so here it means that the Dharma Jewel is free from the inappropriate attention that gives rise to afflictions, and is free from all thought grasping true existence. So these true cessations are known by oneself in meditative equipoise on emptiness, in which all dualistic appearances have vanished. Okay, so it's without any, the true cessations are without any grasping at true existence and without any appearance of true existence. So the conceptualization is actually the grasping at true existence, concepts of true existence. Okay, like that. Then the fourth one is the excellent quality of purity, meaning that the Dharma Jewel is not mixed with any obscurations. It's free from the defilements that prevent the direct perception of ultimate reality. And this is because the Arya paths are the wisdom that directly realize emptiness. So those first three talked about the true cessations, and now we're going into the three that talk about the true paths. So here the purity is of the true paths, the wisdom realizing emptiness. That wisdom is pure because it's not tainted by any of the grasping or any of the defilements that prevent direct perception of the ultimate truth. Then the fifth quality is the excellent quality of clarity, which means that the Dharma Jewel clearly knows the mode of existence, which is emptiness, of all phenomena. So it's clear about, the ultimate mode of existence. It's not confused about that. So it's also free of the bias that is part of attachment, anger, and confusion. Yeah, so when you think about the true path, the wisdom that's realizing emptiness, it's free of all attachment, anger, confusion, any kind of wrong view, any kind of skewed way of looking at things, because that wisdom sees things exactly how they are, how they exist, which is that they're empty of inherent existence. So that it's clear, that wisdom is clear, or has the quality of clarity. Okay, then the sixth one is the excellent quality of the antidotal class. So the antidotal class, you have the afflicted class and the antidotal class. So it's a way of dividing phenomena. The afflictive class are all the things that are produced by afflictions, like our body is produced by afflictions. All the things in samsara are produced by afflictions, or, produced under the influence of afflictions. It's not like the afflictions is the substantial cause, but it's, things are produced under the influence of the afflictions. And so those are called the afflictive phenomena. The antidotal class are the things that overcome the afflictions. So clearly this wisdom realizing emptiness belongs to the antidotal class because it overcomes the grasping at true existence, inherent existence, and so on. And because that ignorance which grasps at those things is the root of samsara, then by overcoming it, then all the afflictions are overcome. By the afflictions being overcome, then they can no longer create the polluted karma that causes rebirth in samsara. And in that way, samsara finishes. Okay, so it's talking about here that the true paths are able to counteract some portion of the afflictive obscurations or cognitive obscurations. So it's the wisdom realizing emptiness that is actually the direct antidote to both the afflictive obscurations and the cognitive obscurations, but it's to eliminate the afflictive obscurations, you also need the bodhicitta, because you need the merit that's created to eliminate the cognitive obscurations. You need the bodhicitta because the bodhicitta allows us to create the merit that enriches the mind and strengthens the wisdom so that it becomes capable of eliminating these very subtle defilements on the mind. Then the seventh is the excellent quality of true cessations, which is free of attachment, free of craving. Okay? So these are the true cessations, which are the ultimate truths of all three vehicles, and this subsumes the first three excellent qualities of being inconceivable without the two and without conceptualization. Okay? So that's true cessations. Then the eighth one is the excellent quality of true paths. And, so true cessations are ultimate truths. They exist the way they appear. They're the emptiness of the mind that has overcome some portion of afflictions. The true paths are conventional truths, okay? Because the true paths themselves, although they realize emptiness, they are not the mode of being. They're the mind that realizes the ultimate mode of being. So they're sometimes called concordant ultimates, which makes sense because the mind realizing emptiness and directly, and the emptiness that's realized, they're said to be, like we were talking yesterday, completely non-dual, in the sense there's no appearance of subject and object. They say it's like water poured in water. So when you pour two glasses of water together, you can't pull them apart. Yeah. So the true paths are actually, mixed with, the true cessations in that way in meditative equipoise. You can't tell them apart because there's no true path, there's no appearance of the true path as the subject and the true cessations as the object. Okay? So the true paths are conventional truths that act to eliminate the defilements. Okay, so these are the true paths of all three vehicles, and they have the second three excellent qualities of purity, clarity, and antidotal class. And they function to free the mind from attachment, craving, and other defilements. So they're like the sun that eliminates the darkness of ignorance. Okay, so a Dharma Jewel must have at least some of the 8 qualities. It doesn't have to have all of them. Okay, so for example, an uninterrupted path of seeing is a true path, but a true cessation has not been actualized at that moment. It's only on the liberated path of seeing that a true cessation is actualized. Okay, so that's, yeah.
What was number 4 on that?
Purity, meaning that it's free of the defilements that prevent direct perception of ultimate reality. So it's free of, all the defilements that we have right now that prevent us from seeing emptiness. Okay, because the true paths are the wisdom realizing emptiness directly. Okay, then the 8 excellent qualities of the Sangha Jewel. Yeah, so here, remember before when we were talking about it the first day, we had the ultimate Sangha Jewel and the conventional Sangha Jewel, and the ultimate Sangha Jewel was also the true cessations and true paths, and the conventional Sangha Jewel was the Aryas. So here, the Sangha Jewel includes Arya Bodhisattvas, as well as what they call the 4 approachers and abiders. This is a way in which people in the fundamental vehicle progress through their paths. So the approacher to stream entry, the abider in stream entry, approacher to once returner, abider in once returner, approacher to non-returner, abider and non-returner, approacher to arhatship, and then an arhat. Okay, so it's all the Aryas. So it's actually, from the first day, it's talking more about what we call the conventional Dharma Jewel. And it's very interesting. I studied this once in the Ornament of Clear Realization. They talk about, there's a topic called the 20 Sanghas, where they talk about all the different ways that somebody in the fundamental vehicle can progress through those 8 different stages. It's really complicated, but it's kind of fun when you talk about it. It's like a puzzle. You know how sometimes things are like puzzles that you try and figure out. Okay. Okay, so the Sangha Jewel is an Arya who possesses any of the 8 qualities of knowledge and liberation. So the 7th and 8th qualities of the Sangha Jewel, that subsume all the others, are knowledge and liberation. So a Sangha Jewel is an Arya who possesses any of those 8 qualities of knowledge and liberation. So that person doesn't need to possess all of the qualities. Yeah. So again, an Arya on an uninterrupted path of the path of seeing has the qualities of knowledge, which sees emptiness, but not the qualities of liberation, because they don't have the true cessations yet. Okay, so the verse from the Sublime Continuum about the Sangha Jewel says, because of pure inner exalted wisdoms, seeing modes and varieties, the assembly of intelligent, irreversible ones is endowed with unsurpassable, excellent qualities. Beautiful, yeah? So the 8 excellent qualities of the Sangha Jewel, yeah? So the first one is the quality of knowing the mode of existence. Because remember the first 2 lines, because of the pure inner exalted wisdom, seeing the modes and varieties. So modes is referring to the mode of existence, the ultimate nature, ultimate truth. Varieties is referring to the conventional nature and the conventional truth. Okay, so the first of the part is that Sangha has the Sangha Jewel has the quality of knowing the mode of existence, being the emptiness of inherent existence of all phenomena. Okay, so the Sangha Jewel has the inner wisdom that there are no truly existent identities. So this is an inner wisdom, non-verbal, non-conceptual inner wisdom. It's not the words, and it's not like showing off and this kind of thing, okay? So often the texts dealing with the correct view of emptiness speak about the ultimate truth from the perspectives of the analytical mind that arises from learning, from reflecting, and from meditation. So the perspective of this probing awareness is very different from the perspective of a mind that has realized emptiness as it is and realizes it directly. Okay? So when you have these, the wisdom from learning and reflection, definitely you're working with conceptual minds. The wisdom of meditation, usually, that some people say it starts with the path of preparation, some people leave it a little bit vaguer, but it seems like some of the wisdom of meditation may be involved in conceptual probing awareness, but once you've got to the path of seeing, the wisdom is non-conceptual there. Okay, and so that conceptual mind that is thinking about emptiness, analyzing, does the person exist this way, does the person exist that way, that is very different than being able to directly penetrate into the ultimate truth and know it directly. So the Aryas have that penetrative wisdom that's non-conceptual. Okay, so it's completely free of dualistic appearances, while the former is still investigating how things exist.
So this particular way you're talking about is both conceptual and non-conceptual?
No, it's talking about the wisdom because a true path is non-conceptual. So it's differentiating a true path from at least the wisdom realizing of wisdom arising from learning and wisdom arising from reflection, and from the conceptual part of the wisdom arising from meditation. Okay? Because realizing emptiness conceptually and non-conceptually are very different ball games, even though the conceptual realization is very powerful. Okay. Okay, so why the analytical conceptual awareness is an essential step in the process of realizing emptiness directly. Its understanding is not complete or distinct. Complete or direct, I'm sorry. Yeah, because it's still understanding it via the means of a conceptual appearance. And remember, the conceptual appearance is not the actual thing. It's just a conceptual appearance.
This is happening during meditation.
When,
And this is happening during meditation.
yeah. Okay. Because if you're meditating with a conceptual appearance, you're still meditating with a conceptual appearance. It's profound, but it's not the true path. Yeah, it's the cause of the true path. Once it goes from being conceptual to non-conceptual, then it becomes the true path. Okay, and the way we start out with understanding emptiness, right now, forget about true path or even conceptual understanding. We're usually on the other spectrum of wrong view. Yeah, because we'll even hear the teaching about emptiness, and we'll go, really? things aren't inherently existent, how do they exist then?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's it. What are you talking about? I don't get it. This is some kind of nonsense. So you go from there. That's where you start out. You go from there to doubt. Like, well, maybe. I don't really get it. Doesn't make much sense. But maybe things are empty of inherent existence. Then you stay there for a while and you continue learning and practicing, and, contemplating. Then your mind gets a correct conceptual understanding. It's not an inference yet. It's just a correct, actually I can't say a correct conceptual understanding. It's what's called a correct assumption. So, well, it is a form of it's still conceptual, and it's assuming. It doesn't have the strength of an inference, which is also conceptual, but it's kind of, yeah, that makes sense, I guess so. Yeah, I believe in emptiness. Yeah. So you're assuming it, but your mind doesn't really get it. Yeah. Then you keep practicing more and more. Wait until the end, please. More and more. And then at some point you get a correct inference where, your inferential understanding is completely clear and certain. Yeah. There's no more any doubt. There's no more just assumption, but you've been able to see that things are empty because they're dependent arising, and that's it. You have that inference. So you're perceiving emptiness, but you're perceiving emptiness still through the medium of some conceptual appearance. Then you keep meditating, and by this time you have to have the union of serenity and insight, so you definitely have single-pointedness. And then at some point you break through that conceptual appearance and you have the direct perception of emptiness. And that's the path of seeing, and that's the true path. Okay? Your question?
If you get a little glimpse or an insight of this,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of terrifying.
Is it terrifying? For some people it can be. Yeah. They always tell the story, of one monk who got that kind of glimpse and then grabbed onto his shirt, like, wait, I want to be real. But, that person hasn't seen emptiness directly. That kind of fear only happens when there's a conceptual understanding. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you're using the term conceptual appearance,
Yeah.
an intellectual construct or perceptual, a conceptual perception, like an experience. Is it an intellectual construct that you're talking about, or an
It's
experience?
okay. A conceptual appearance is if I say, think of your mother. Yeah? Do you have an image in your mind of your mother? Okay. That connects to your mother, but is it your mother? No. There's this means of this conceptual appearance in between, which is different than looking at your mother with, directly. Okay? Okay, so the true path has gone, it's not wrong view, it's not doubt, it's not correct assumption, it's not an inference, it's direct. Yeah. And that's why they say the experience is like the mind and the object completely merging. Yeah. Okay. Where were we? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then the second quality of the Sangha is the excellent quality of knowing the varieties. That is, the Sangha Jewel knows some portion of the diversity of phenomena. So at the same time that you're cleansing your mind with this direct perception of emptiness, and gaining true cessations, different true cessations, your mind is also becoming clearer of these defilements, and so it's becoming more able to see the range of conventional phenomena. Okay, so it makes sense, doesn't it? You know, when a mirror is really dirty, the more you clean the mirror, the easier it is for it to reflect certain things that it was unable to reflect.
With the Buddha's mind, there's a knowing variety that's omniscient.
Yeah.
Is not necessarily omniscient completely.
No, the Buddha is omniscient completely.
Right, but
The
Sangha
Sangha Jewel,
it could be incomplete.
right, like the Aryas on the path of seeing, path of meditation. Yeah. So they have some ability to see more phenomena, but nothing compared to the Buddha. But certainly a lot more than us. Okay, and so they can help sentient beings much more than we can. Okay, then the third is the excellent quality of the inner exalted wisdom. So specifically of the Buddha essence, the Tathagata-garbha, which is the emptiness of the mind. So the Sangha Jewel has knowledge of the Buddha nature as it exists in all sentient beings. So the Sangha Jewel, see, the nature of all sentient beings' minds is the emptiness of inherent existence. That's the natural purity of their mind. The Sangha has direct perception of emptiness of all phenomena, so they're also going to perceive the emptiness of all sentient beings' minds, and which is what's called the natural Buddha nature of sentient beings. Okay, so the Sangha Jewel has knowledge of this Buddha nature as it exists in all sentient beings. So even though sentient beings have the Buddha nature, the emptiness of their mind, they don't know it. Yeah, we can't perceive our own ultimate nature directly because our mind is just filled with garbage. Yeah, but the Aryas can perceive our Buddha nature directly. So all these Aryas, they know something about you that you don't know about yourself. Yeah, which is good because they know the basic purity of our mind, and so they know how to lead us so that we can realize it as well. Okay. In this same text, the Sublime Continuum, they have a thing where they give analogies for the Buddha nature, kind of being like a jewel buried in dirt, or a woman who's pregnant, a very poor woman who's pregnant with a Chakravarta, a universal emperor. It's not, in other words, it's like you have something rare and precious and beautiful, and you don't know it, so you're miserable. Yeah. So the Aryas see that Buddha nature. That's quite beautiful, isn't it? So, that's actually quite meaningful because they see our Buddha nature, they often have much more confidence in our ability than we have in ourselves. Yeah, because we grasp ourselves as, some truly existent person. And then, we think we are all our limitations. I am my anger, I am my attachment, I am my ignorance, I am all these mistakes I've done throughout my whole life. I'm full of shame, I'm not worthwhile, all this kind of self-talk that we have. And the Aryas don't buy any of it because they see that the basic nature of the mind is pure and that all these kinds of afflictions are adventitious. We don't see it. So we think, oh, Buddhahood, too hard, too difficult, I can't do it. Just give me something easy, like some chocolate and, like every time I meditate, can I have some chocolate afterwards? To give me some sense pleasure. Yeah. So, the Aryas don't see us in that limited way. They see us as full of potential. Whereas we're just kind of dragging ourselves around thinking we're catastrophes. Yeah? So, we think we're so smart, but we don't really understand who we are and our own nature and our own potential. And instead, we paint this whole wrong self-image on top of ourselves and believe that to be who we are. Yeah. So we're actually pretty dumb, even though we think we're very brilliant. So it's good that the Aryas see that, that our self-image is rubbish, that they see reality and they see that our self-image is total rubbish. And so, they approach us like, here's some sentient beings who's full of potential, and we're kind of going, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I remember there was one of the Mind Life meetings I happened to attend. There was one of the scientists there. This scientist, everybody else liked him. To me, he was arrogance embodied, and it just so arrogant and inherently, because my opinions are right and what I see is right. So, and I remember at the beginning of this meeting, because he had been at previous meetings, he just came up to His Holiness and like, "Hi, Your Holiness," and gave him a hug, and I'm like, you don't act that way around him, like like he was meeting his old golfing buddy or something. And I'm like horrified. And His Holiness is just warm and compassionate. "Oh, so good to see you. I'm so glad you came. You've been doing so much good work." And I'm going, this guy is so arrogant. Why is His Holiness feeding this? By praising him so much. And then now I'm realizing that because His Holiness didn't see him the way I saw him. And His Holiness wasn't seeing him as he saw himself, but was really seeing him as somebody full of potential and doing incredible good work. Yeah.
This reminds me of a story also at scientist with His Holiness who hold His Holiness's hand during a whole 30 minutes or 45 minutes tour through a laboratory
Mm-hmm.
And after that, the scientist said, and his wife said, it changed his life. At least for 1 year, he was so open, calm, and flexible and compassionate.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one scientist who came, it's probably this one. He had some kind of connection with His Holiness that was just astounding to watch when we were there, and he really changed after that. He changed while the conference was going on, actually. Now, you don't know what kind of karma people have. Okay.
Us, we have tires.
You have what?
We
Fire?
have tires, karma.
Higher karma?
Tires. We have tires.
Tired karma.
No, the tires in the
Oh, tires down there. Oh, yes. Yeah, tire and scrap metal karma. And yeah, yeah. Okay. So that was the third one, the Sangha's inner exalted wisdom. Okay, the fourth is the exalted quality of being pure, or free of some portion of the obscurations of attachment. In other words, the afflictive obscurations. They're called the obscurations of attachment, or maybe obscurations of craving. Because, when you look at the Four Noble Truths, even though ignorance is the root, when they talk about the true origin, the second of the Four Truths, they always use craving as the example. Because craving, we crave during life for sense pleasure, we crave to be free of, unpleasant things. At the time of death, we crave to have another body. So craving is very much part of the samsaric nature. So craving and attachment, they're sometimes translated the same way. So this is the excellent quality of being pure of some portion of the obscurations of craving. In other words, the afflictive obscurations. And then the fifth one is the excellent quality of being pure or free from some portion of the pervasive obstructions. The pervasive obstructions meaning the cognitive obscurations. Okay. So again, a Sangha doesn't need to have all of these because, for example, a fundamental vehicle arhat would have the excellent quality of being pure from the obscurations of attachment, but wouldn't have the one of being pure from the pervasive obscurations, which are the cognitive obscurations. Okay, then the number 6 is the excellent quality of being pure or free from some portion of the inferior obscurations. Okay, so an inferior obscuration is the self-centered wish to attain liberation for yourself alone. Yeah, and it's inferior because it leads us to arhatship, but not to full awakening. And so this could involve, for example, being captivated by the bliss of personal peace, of your own nirvana, and thus not generating bodhicitta. So for somebody who follows the here solitary realizer path and attains arhatship and abides in their own nirvana with all its bliss and never thinks of generating bodhicitta until the Buddha wakes them up. Inferior obscuration may also refer to certain obstructions that prevent easy movement between different meditative concentrations. And thus, and this kind of obscuration can impede the gaining of realizations, because the Aryas, especially the Bodhisattva Aryas, because a Buddha has perfected every good quality, then the Bodhisattva Aryas, our Arya Bodhisattvas, are working on doing that. And so part of the good qualities a Buddha has is all the different states of meditative absorption. We have the 4 material realm dhyanas, and the 4 formless realm meditative absorptions. So the Buddha can go back and forth between all these states of mind just very quickly, in and out of these concentrations. And, we can't even get like single pointedness at the very beginning, but, Buddha, just all of them goes in and out, back and forth. And so some of the Aryas, some Aryas, like in the here and solitary realizer vehicle, and other people as well, they don't have that meditative flexibility to go in and out of so many different meditative states so quickly. Yeah, it takes them more time. So inferior obscurations can also refer to that. Yeah. Then the seventh is the excellent quality of knowledge, which is the true paths. And so the first three excellent qualities are included here. So they were the excellent quality of knowing the mode of existence, which is going to develop. That one, when it develops, it's going to become the third of the Buddha's qualities, that Buddha's wisdom that knows things as they are. And then the second quality of the Arya Jewel that's included in the excellent quality of Sangha is the excellent quality of knowing the varieties, so all the different conventional things. And then also the excellent quality of inner exalted wisdom, knowing the Buddha nature of all the sentient beings. So that is, okay, those are all included in the Sangha's excellent quality of knowledge. So while the true paths and the continua of all Aryas are minds free of grasping at true existence, the true paths of the 8th, 9th, and 10th grounds of bodhisattvas are so pure that they are close to the unsurpassable wisdom of a Buddha. And they are objects of refuge that are free from any taint of seeking liberation for themselves alone. Okay, so those inferior obscurations, the 8th, 9th, and 10th ground bodhisattvas, it's called the pure ground bodhisattvas. Those are right before you become Buddha. Then they're free of that. They've eliminated all the self-centeredness completely. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah? And I mean, we have the gross self-centeredness that is just like so awful. But even the subtler self-centeredness that seeks our own nirvana and wants to forget about other sentient beings, just to even be free of that kind of self-preoccupation. Wouldn't that be nice? And then the 8th quality of the Sangha is the quality of liberation, which is irreversible. So it is the quality of true cessations. So that, once you attain different true cessations, you never lose them. They're irreversible because you've eliminated these obscurations from the root. So they can, if something's eliminated from the root, they can never come back. Okay, so those are the 4th, 5th, and 6th excellent qualities. So being pure or free from some portion of the obscurations of attachment, being pure or free from some portion of the pervasive obscurations, the cognitive ones, and then being free or pure from some portion of the inferior obscurations. That's the self-centeredness, and then this inability to go back and forth between different meditative states. Okay, so in the verse above, where it said the irreversible ones in the verse, that refers to those bodhisattvas who have stopped any tendency to strive for their own liberation. Okay, so it's a very powerful attainment because the inferior obscurations are gone, and that person is on the fast train to Buddhahood. Okay, they will go quickly to Buddhahood. So if they did not gain some kind of irreversibility before the 8th ground, they gain it at the 8th ground. So some, bodhisattvas may have eliminated the self-centered mind before the 8th ground, but if not, then definitely by the 8th ground they do. Okay. Okay. So a true path realizes, wait a minute here. Mm-hmm. Okay, then, there's another verse in Sublime Continuum. Okay, so describing, this verse describes the knowledge of the Sangha Jewel. Due to realizing the quiescent nature of beings, they perceive the very mode of existence of phenomena. This is due to the natural, thorough purity, and because afflictions are extinguished from the start. Okay, so realizing the quiescent nature of beings refers to understanding the selflessness of persons and the selflessness of phenomena. Okay, and so in order to realize the ultimate nature of sentient beings, the emptiness of persons, one must also, at the same time, realize the emptiness of phenomena other than the persons. So when you have direct perception of emptiness, it's of all phenomena. Yeah. So a true path realizes these two emptinesses of persons and of phenomena without any differentiation between them. Because again, there's no appearance of subject and object. And emptiness is just emptiness. It's not the emptiness of the person, the emptiness of the aggregates. Okay, that is, to a mind that directly perceives emptiness, the ultimate nature of all existence are perceived simultaneously and directly. Pretty nice, huh? So it says, this is because the nature of the mind is clear light, in that it is empty of true existence. This is its natural purity. The mind is temporarily, but not ultimately, affected by defilements in our present state. The fact that the mind is not ultimately defiled indicates that its nature is clear light. In other words, that its nature is emptiness. Furthermore, the afflictions are not embedded in the nature of the mind. This is also good news. Because if the afflictions were embedded in the nature of the mind, we can never get rid of them. Okay? So if they were part of the ultimate nature of the mind, they would not arise due to causes and conditions. And in that case, put it this way: if the afflictions were the nature of the mind, then ignorance would be the nature of the mind, okay? And then ignorance would be a correct knower. It would know things correctly, yeah? And then there would be no way to remove the afflictions by applying an antidote, such as the wisdom realizing emptiness. However, the fact that the afflictions do not truly exist means they are adventitious and can be abandoned. Okay? So enumerating the excellent qualities of the three jewels in this way shows why they are valuable and complete sources of refuge. For this reason, it is important for us to take refuge in them with the full strength from the depths of our hearts, and to take refuge repeatedly in order to deepen and strengthen our connection with them. And if we do this, then we'll be able to call on the three jewels no matter what situation we're in, and we'll never fall into a mental state of despair or depression or hopelessness. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah? Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so when we think about these qualities of the three jewels, yeah, when you do analytic meditation on them, reflecting on them, then sometimes look at them in the sense of, the external Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha have these qualities, and think about what those qualities are and how they give them the external, the causal Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the ability to guide you. And so when you think about it in that way, then that increases your faith and in them and confidence in them, and really helps deepen when you take refuge in the beings who are already Buddhas, the beings who are already Sangha, and the Dharma in their mind stream. Then sometimes when you meditate on it, meditate on these qualities and think, this is my potential. This is what I can become. Yeah. And let that sink into your mind. Don't go, oh yeah, sure. But really let that sink into your mind and think, yeah, this is my potential. I can generate these realizations. I can generate these true cessations and these wonderful qualities. Yeah. And certainly, the Buddha used to be an ordinary being like us. He did it, so of course we can do it too. And so when you meditate like that, then it really gives you a lot of confidence, a good kind of self-confidence. Right now, our self-confidence is also often based on temporary things, and then when those temporary things crash, so does our self-confidence. But when our self-confidence is based on our Buddha nature and on our potential, then there's no way it can ever crash, because that Buddha nature can never be removed from our mind. It's part of the nature of the mind. Okay? So when we really believe this, then we really have a solid reason for self-confidence. It's not, well, I'm self-confident because I have a good education, or I'm self-confident because I'm young and healthy, or I'm self-confident because I know more things than other people, or I'm self-confident because I'm richer, or more artistic, or more athletic, or any of those things. Because all those qualities are going to go away. So if we base our self-confidence on them, it's a setup for depression. And I think that's why a lot of people get depressed when they get older. Yeah? Whereas when we really can see this potential inside of ourselves, then we never get depressed. And when we can see this potential inside of other beings, then we don't bother to get angry at them. Yeah? It's like, who has the time and energy to get angry at sentient beings who have all this internal beauty? Yeah, it's like, why waste my time? Okay. You don't believe me. That jerk, he doesn't have what you're talking about here. Yeah. Right.
Can't you see it? Waiting for you to give a talk about how Ted Cruz has the...
Yeah. I mean, Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, all of them. Yeah. Because when you think about it, who are Ted Cruz and Donald Trump? They're only karmic bubbles. They're only karmic blips. We see them as solid, concrete people, as if they're permanent and unchangeable and always there. They're just a manifestation of karma from the continuum of some mind stream, and manifesting in that particular form for the flash, as long as the flash of lightning, because Shantideva says, our life is like the length of a lightning flash. By the time it gets to the end, it's like this. So, that's all Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are. Yeah. And that's all Hillary and Bernie are too. It's so we don't need to get so aggravated and so solid about them. Yeah. And if you're here Saturday night, we'll be doing some chanting Saturday night. And we always, we're bowing to the Buddha. And I always put the whole U.S. Congress with me, when we're bowing to the Buddha and thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful if all these people could take refuge? And wouldn't it be wonderful if they could see their own Buddha nature? Yeah, wouldn't it? And you could throw Vladimir Putin in there. You can put Saddam Hussein. You can put your boss. You can put anybody you want in there, and just they're all only a karmic bubble. They're not going to be who they are for very long. But neither will we. Yeah. But our precious human life is very valuable. She's finally developing a positive attitude. Okay, I think we better dedicate. Yes. Oh. Good.
Arya Sangha is from all three vehicles.
Yes.
So I have swung left, right, and left as you explain these. The party line is that, from Sangha view, is that the arhats in the pure vehicle
Mm-hmm.
realize the same emptiness.
Yeah.
So I don't get sometimes if they're seeing the emptiness of all phenomena,
Mm-hmm.
why don't they then, like say this one about the Tathagata Dharma, why don't they see that? And then because some of them have the view that people don't have the Buddha nature, or they, you know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
really all hold, the storyline doesn't hold.
Yeah.
And then you went to this thing and you said you don't have to have all of them, you can just have a portion.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But so what you're saying is they perceive because they perceive emptiness of all phenomena, they perceive sentient beings' Buddha nature.
Right. How
So,
could they have a tenet or a belief that doesn't believe that?
so how could they not believe? Because they may see the emptiness, but they don't know that the emptiness is the Buddha nature. It's like I could meet your mother, but not know that that person was your mother. Okay? So it's the same way that the lower schools, they understand dependent arising, but they don't understand that if it's dependent arising, it has to be empty. Okay?